especially coming from somebody who said he should have retired a couple of years ago. But look, he's proved everybody wrong, and he's coming up to this 49th fight. It's a tough fight in Otto. Wallin. He's only lost 2 fights in his career against 2 former world champions in Tyson Fury and AJ. It's a tough fight. This is no foregone conclusion. He's going to have his hands full, I promise you.
You spoke about the 50th fight. This is the 49th. Win, lose or draw, he does want to have another fight. There's rumblings about Africa. He said his concerns about going to the Congo, South Africa and all these places, but there is talks about His Excellency Turki al-Sheikh going to Africa, re-season Africa with AJ and Bukoli, maybe. Would Del Boy be in that undercard? Would you like to be there and promote that fight, get him on the undercard?
We'll see what happens. I mean, first of all, let's get the 49th out of the way. That's the most important thing, and focus on that. It's going to be an emotional night, and it tells you about the British public's affection for him and the amount of tickets all the guys on the undercards have personally sold. It's going to be a very atmospheric night, an emotional night. I mentioned earlier, this fight has sold more tickets than Buckner versus Henry Cooper. It's sold more tickets than Lennox Lewis against Oliver McCall. There's a whole raft of them. It sold more tickets. That's it. And it's not for a world title. But what it is for, and everybody forgets, it's an eliminator for the IBF title. So if he comes through, his fight could be for the world title, for the IBF title.
That's Daniel Dubois. Now, one final one for me, obviously, he said he doesn't care about the titles. He's all about the cash and the money. And
well, where's money come from?
Well, titles, I suppose.
There
right?
you go. So there you go.
Well, I was going to mention about that 50k Rolex. Is that a gold Rolex or a 50k Rolex? What did he say?
I don't know. I'm just some bloke I know who's he's coming back from Thailand. He said he'd sort one out.
I'll take one of them, Frank.
Okay.
Frank, just a couple of questions. Derek obviously talked about legacy there, and he said, I don't care about legacy. You guys can define the legacy for me. What do you think Derek Chisora's legacy is?
His legacy is that he served British boxing and world boxing with all of his heart and all his determination. He's never been in a boring fight. He comes out the ring with nothing. He leaves everything in the ring in every fight he has.
And what are your favourite memories, either working with him, working against him, being on his side?
I've got favourite memories and horrible memories, but my favourite ones, I suppose, are the Klitschko fight, which was behind the scenes was dreadful for him. What was going on there, and I look at that fight against Klitschko. He gave Klitschko his toughest fight that he had in 10 years since he fought Lennox Lewis, and won the last round on all the judges' scorecards. He's been a magnificent ambassador. As I said earlier today, I thought he should have been retired a few years ago. There he is. He's still in there, going to war.
And one final one for me. I remember in the starting initial press conference, Derek mentioned the Eagles might be coming out.
You mentioned what?
The Eagles might be coming out. Any word on the entrance? Are we going to get a star-studded entrance for Derek Chisora?
It'd be a good entrance. That's his last performance, his last fight in the UK. It's the last dance for Derek in the UK.
Frank, I just wanted to get a comment from yourself. Carlos Adames put out a tweet earlier today saying he got refused entry to the UK, to Saudi Arabia, and was that?
It's not true.
Okay.
It's not true. There's no problems whatsoever. He will be in the ring facing, we hope, the new champion in Hamza on the 22nd in Riyadh as part of the Riyadh season.
Did he? I mean, is he in Saudi Arabia now? Did he get on the flight then?
I don't know where he got him, but it ain't no problem. He'll be there.
Another one as well. I spoke to Ben Shalom last week, and he said that the rematch between him, Liam Cameron and Ben Whittaker is edging closer. I guess from a Queen point of view, is that any truth to that? Can we see an announcement soon for that rematch?
Fight till anything's signed. I think Ben Shalom said a lot of things lately, and did he say? I think his last couple of comments were, what was the title fight that AJ's fighting in Africa against Bukoli? I mean, come on, you've been around the block enough, you should know these things.
Frank, just want to ask, say if Daniel comes through Joseph Parker, you've mentioned this is an IBF eliminator. If Derek wins, do you hold an interest in making Daniel Dubois versus Derek Chisora?
Let's see what happens with Daniel on the 22nd of February in Riyadh when he meets Joe Parker, which is a cracking fight. No foregone conclusion. Let's see what happens with that and who the winner of that is. And let's see what happens on Saturday night here in Manchester and see what happens. Then we can make an informed decision on what we're going to do. But look, it's exciting times for heavyweight boxing. absolutely the best time ever for heavyweight boxing. You know why? Because we're making the fights happen.
Frank, any talks with Tyson Fury? I know he's announced his retirement. A lot of people also say maybe that's not a retirement, maybe he just wants a bit more money. But have you talked to him? Have you, as he said,
He's got plenty of money. You know, he's got plenty of money. You know, he's retired. He's spending time with his family. He's enjoying life. He hardly sees his kids and his wife last year. He's got 7 children, so he's spending some quality time while they're young, seeing them. You know, boxers make a lot of sacrifices in their careers. You know, they give up their youth and to become champions and achieve their dreams and desires. And it's a hard, probably the hardest profession out there. And he's retired, and everybody should respect that. And if he comes back, he comes back. If he don't, you know, appreciate all what he did in the ring. One of the best 2 heavyweights of the 21st century.
We're hearing Anthony Joshua's keeping an eye on February 22nd, especially Dubois and Jose Parker. Is there any talks in the background with Eddie and, you know, getting that fight made for summertime?
Not had any conversations about it. You've got an IBF eliminator taking place on Saturday here, so let's see what happens.
Talk to me about the man that everyone, Take Ellis Shake's talking about, exciting about, is Moses Itama. What's next for him, and when can we expect him out?
We'll be making an announcement next week.
It appears that Daniel Dubois really has the choice of what he could do if he does come through Joseph Parker. Now you've set up a potential IBF eliminator for a potential fight other than Usyk.
Yeah.
Is it up to whether Usyk wants Dubois next, or could Dubois choose to fight something other than an undisputed title shot?
We will see what happens. We've got to get this fight out on the way on the 22nd. I'm not being evasive about it. It's just what we are. I mean, there's so much up in the air. One thing's for sure, any of these world title fights take place, it'll be with Queensberry fighters. And we'll make sure they happen. All our guys are all in. We work very hard, really worked hard on all their behalves, and they're all in good positions now to move their careers on.
I wouldn't think that anybody would have expected that Derek Chisora would have another shot at a heavyweight title. Obviously, he's got to do some work come Saturday, but is it important or interesting to you to be involved potentially in giving Derek one more shot at a world title?
If it happens, it happens. I mean, I never thought I'd be sitting here 18 years later for his 49th fight. Never in a million years. And I said, you know, I've said it on numerous occasions, he should retire. He should have retired years ago. He hasn't done that. And we are where we are.
Have you heard anything about what Ben Shalom has done with this all-women's card? There's a lot on the news right now about Marshall having turned up to a press conference and these women turning up to a press conference and them not getting on the top table or anything.
Who's not got on the top table?
Savannah Marshall and...
Why is that?
Well, this is what I don't know. This is what I'm asking you about.
She was promised a big fight with her opponent, and she walked up to the press conference and got left behind. So
I didn't know. Well, that's the first I've heard it. I've got no idea. I know Raven's on there, and that's it. But I don't know.
how did you see the Canelo and Crawford fight panning out from your perspective? Obviously,
I
two of the
fancied
best.
Canelo. I think Canelo is I mean, with the greatest respect to him, he's obviously older and whatever, and I think he's when you get to a certain time in your career where you're not going to get any better, you're only going to get worse. And but I still think he would be too big and too much for Crawford. Crawford in his last fight against Madrov, that was a tough fight for him. About a guy, what, he had 10 or 11 pro fights. That was a tough fight for him.
One of the fights that His Excellency mentioned he'd love to see is Inoue versus Nick Ball, which would be amazing for the end of this year. First of all, I know that's a fight you'd love to see in Riyadh. Do you think Nick has that capability to knock out Inoue? He's got big power, hasn't he?
I think he's got I think coming up, because he'll be coming up in UE to take that fight on. I tell you what, and I mean it now, provided my man still got his title, providing in UE keeps winning, I fancy Nick to beat him.
And he also mentioned about Moses Toma versus Usyk as well, which, you know, that shows how much of a fan he is of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fight, but for that to happen, that'd be down the line, because I'm hoping that Daniel comes through. He's got a tough fight himself on the 22nd in Riyadh. It's a great fight. He comes through that. For me, now Tyson's retired. The biggest heavyweight fight out there is the rematch between the two, I think.
Have you had much of a conversation with Tyson since that news?
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times. Yeah. Not regular, but he's been travelling a bit with his family and whatever. and obviously he had the holiday period. I didn't want to be disturbing him, but yeah, I've spoken to him a few times. But he is where he is. He seemed very happy. He's enjoying life, enjoying being around his kids. As I mentioned earlier, he's missed a lot of their, over the last year. A lot of them growing up and so forth, and in 3 long camps. And you look at that, that's like a lot. That's a long time to be away from your kids. I mean, we travel, we're in the business, but you go home and you see your kids. If you're fighting and you're in big fights, you're in a training camp and you don't see your family. It's tough, and he's enjoying his moment now with his kids. And good luck to him, and God bless him all.
Thanks, man.